Vanguard. Real name, Nikolai Krylenko. Occupation, adventurer. Identity, secret. Legal status, Soviet citizen. Former aliases, none. Place of birth, Minsk, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Marital status, single. Known relatives, Lainia Petrovna, sister. Maria Krylova, mother, deceased. Sergei Krylov, father. Group affiliation, Soviet Super Soldiers. Base of operations, Kishtim, Siberia. First appearance, Iron Man number 109. Origin. Nikolai Krylenko was the son of Soviet physicist Sergei Krylov and was one of twins who were among the first known mutants born in the Soviet Union allowed to live past childhood. Krylov's wife died during childbirth in complications stemming from her exposure to radiation in an accident in her husband's laboratory in Kishtim months earlier. With the discovery of the existence of mutants in the United States, the Soviet government discontinued its policy of letting mutant children die and began training them for the service of the state. Krylov's children were abducted by KGB to be placed in training. Krylov was informed that his children were stillborn. Nikolai, his sister Lainia, see Dark Star, and Mikhail Ursus, see Ursa Major, were placed in the care of Dr. Peter Phobos, who raised them as students of the Soviet Super Soldiers School. There, the boy first manifested his mutant powers and was given the code name Vanguard. Toward the end of his training, Phobos gave him a set of weapons, a hammer and sickle, symbols of the Soviet Union with which to focus his powers. When Phobos was learned to be siphoning off energy from his students in order to develop mutant powers of his own, he dropped out of sight, disbanding his school. The three Soviet mutants split up, Vanguard's sister Dark Star going on assignment in the United States under the guidance of the 4th Crimson Dynamo, and Vanguard and Ursa Major going into the Soviet Army. Sometime later, the Soviet government feared that Krylov, who had become the superhumanly powerful Presence, would discover the deception involving the fate of his children and turn against the state. Thus, KGB intelligence official Colonel Yuri Brevlov was enlisted to reunite the Soviet super soldiers and dispatch them against Krylov. The super soldiers were falsely informed that Krylov was trying to spread the radiation contained within the Forbidden Zone. Radiation actually being propagated by their former teacher, Phobos. After an encounter with Krylov and Phobos, the Soviet super soldiers learned the truth and exposed the KGB's fraud. Vanguard and his teammates resolved to stay together as a team of superhumanly powered champions. However, because of the manipulation and treachery which their government had perpetrated, they resolved to never again be mere agents of the state. The Soviet super soldiers currently fight criminal activity in the Soviet Union and safeguard the security of the Soviet people. Height, 6 feet 3 inches. Weight, 230 pounds. Eyes, blue. Hair, red. Powers. Vanguard possesses the mutant ability to repel any form of energy which he encounters. His body is surrounded by a natural force field which, in a manner yet unknown, redirects all electromagnetic and kinetic energy over a certain potency in the direction from which it originated. The critical ranges for repulsion seem to be electromagnetic energy from 15 electron volts to 800 electron volts, and kinetic energy from above 100 joules to 30 million joules. Thus, if a laser beam strikes his force field, it will be redirected back to its source. Even the concussive force of a punch will be repelled with equal force. Although the field never totally disappears, its effectiveness can be diminished by Vanguard's physical fatigue, repelling energy with less force than its bombardment. Vanguard is an Olympic-level athlete with special training in gymnastics and unarmed combat techniques adapted to his mutant abilities. He can lift, 325 pounds. Weapons. Vanguard wields a specially designed hammer and sickle. When Vanguard crosses the hammer and sickle in front of his body, they serve as an electronic lens which can focus and intensify the repulsion of energy. It is not known the maximum factor by which he can intensify the energy. Vanguard can also employ these implements as practical weapons. By special electromagnetic flying circuitry controlled by a high-density computer which uses a laser gyroscope to track its flight path from its point of origin, the hammer can return to its takeoff point when thrown.